It is a beautiful day in Jacksonville, and the mascot, Jackson DeVille, all fired up for this one, which is being broadcast in Spanish, where available using the SAP button on your television. Titans and Jaguars. It's next on CBS. Moments away from kickoff in Jacksonville. Let's go down to Chris Fisher.
Thanks, Andrew. When we had the chance to meet with Doug Marrone yesterday, he told us when he took over as interim head coach of the Jaguars on Monday, he needed to make some changes in order to feel more comfortable. The first thing he did was gather the assistant coaches and have them compile a group of team leaders. He met with those team leaders and informed the players that he was making modifications to the practice schedule and team rules like no eating or hoodies in meetings. Marrone also took feedback from the 15 or so team leaders, but he let them know he's holding them accountable to enforce the rules in the locker room and set the tone on the field. Andrew?
Chris, thank you very much. Marrone has been the assistant head coach and the assistant offensive line coach for the last 2 years. Steps up today and next week as the interim head coach. And Mike Mularkey, who's familiar with the interim role, he was the Titans interim head coach last year after Ken Whisenhunt was fired, now promoted this year and doing a great job as the Titans control their own destiny, win their final two, and they are division champions. The Titans won the toss. They have deferred until the second half. It's a touchback from Ryan Succop, who has the 5th most touchbacks in the NFL. Blake Bortles, passing touchdowns by quarter this season, only 2 in the opening quarter. His most touchdowns come in the 4th quarter, but a lot of those in garbage time situations. Bortles now in his 3rd year as the Jaguars quarterback.
Yeah, talk about starting slow, Andrew. This Jaguars team only 7 points on the season on their opening drive. That is the lowest scoring output on the first drive of any team in the NFL.
On 1st and 10, and the pass is complete to Allen Robinson along the sideline. As we take a look at the starting offense for the Jacksonville Jaguars, their 5th different starter at left guard. Today it's Tyler Shatley. And Marquise Lee held without a catch last week against Houston. Robinson gets 2 on 1st down. It's 2nd and 8. Yeldon, and he is stuffed at the line of scrimmage. Take a look at the starting defense for Tennessee. Jarrell Casey named to his 2nd straight Pro Bowl. Brian Arakpo, the team leader in sacks with 10.5 on the season. And Valentino Blake starts at corner today. Jason McCourty will not play because of a chest injury. Robinson got 8 yards on 1st down. Yeldon got 1, so it's 3rd and 1 with Chris Ivory at running back. Ivory cuts it back and up the middle of the field, and he gets a Jacksonville 1st down.
Talk about this game as it's coming in, as you see some of the problems that Jacksonville has had in the early going. It's the 2nd fewest, 7th fewest, 8th. They turn it over. I mean, it could not have gone worse in the 1st quarter for this Jacksonville team, and it's hard to win games when you dig your own hole early in the early going.
So 1st and 10 for Jacksonville from their own 36-yard line. It's Yeldon, slips away from one tackle and brought down at the 40-yard line. It was Avery Williamson on the tackle, and it's 2nd down for the Jaguars.
You know, Steve Berline, you and I were speaking to the coaches, and we talked to the Jacksonville players. I wasn't shocked, but I've forgotten early in the season they were embarrassed by this Tennessee team on a Thursday night game.
They were. The most humiliating loss of the season for the Jaguars, down 27-0 at the half of that game. It was a complete joke in terms of a team being prepared to play for a game, and the final score did not even do justice to how much of a whooping it was.
2nd and 6. Bortles looking deep for Robinson. He makes the catch in Titans territory. And down at the 32-yard line. Valentino Blake on the tackle, but a gain of 28.
Go ahead, Steve.
Doug Marrone told me down on the sideline before the game he really felt like they were going to have some chances getting up the field against this Tennessee Titans secondary. They're without Jason McCourty, their best defensive back, and right there taking advantage of the matchup.
If I'm an interim head coach, Yeah, I'm not holding anything back. I think Doug Marone's going to be really aggressive today.
For Robinson, that's just his second catch this year of 25 yards or more. He had 19 of those catches last year. Ivory on first down inside the 30-yard line.
You know, I don't think you can underestimate how much embarrassment and humiliation motivates a football team the way it does this Jacksonville team. You can say all you want about their record, about how poorly they've played at different stretches of the game, but when you are embarrassed by the Tennessee Titans the way this team was, they still remember.
Every one of their players mentioned it in our meetings with them on Friday.
And Dante Fowler said this game was personal. Ivory again with a flag down. Ivory still going close to the 20-yard line. It would be good for a first down if the play stands. The referee today is Pete Morelli.
Looks like it's going against Tennessee.
To the play, a first down.
That's on Bryce McCain.
We spoke to Mike Mularkey when he looked at this Jacksonville team. He said, you know, they've got Ivory, they've got TJ Yeldon. You know, this is a team that's got two big running backs, a lot like his own Titans team. They run the football hard when they're clicking on offense and just ask their quarterback not to lose it. And he says it reminds him a lot of the way they built their team.
Bortles taking another shot, looking for Lee. Great adjustment. The catch. Was he in? Yes. Touchdown, Jaguars. Marquise Lee with his third of the season.
Well, this Jacksonville team coming out on the first drive, making a statement. Marquise Lee, another tall wide receiver on the outside, always has been known as a guy who plays the ball very, very well at its high point, at the apex right there. He missed time to jump a little bit, but still was able to get up after that football. Sims, the rookie corner for Tennessee, didn't know where that football was.
So Jacksonville had 7 points on its opening drives this entire season. And now Jason Myers to double their total, and it's good. What a start for Blake Bortles and the Jaguars. Bortles 3 out of 3 and the touchdown to Lee. Just the second time this year the Jaguars have scored a touchdown on their opening drive. Blake Bortles to Marquise Lee. Those two did not connect at all last week in Houston. No catches for Lee, but he's got the 21-yard touchdown here to give Jacksonville the early lead.
And a good
Also
start
just
for Blake
the
Bortles.
fifth career first quarter touchdown for Blake Bortles. Mark Mariani takes a knee, and the Titans will start at the 25-yard line. Here is Marcus Mariota. 44 career touchdown passes, which through 26 games is the second most in franchise history. Only George Blanda with more through 26 games.
George Blanda, wow, and the guy played 26 years, Blanda.
Well, you can't say enough positive about Marcus Mariota. I mean, he is a guy that has just developed so beautifully, and Mike Mularkey's done a great job this year of conditioning him and training him how to protect the football.
Looking to throw on first down. Mariota completes it to Rashard Matthews, who's got a Tennessee first down. Pushed out of bounds by Miles Jack. As we look at the starting offensive line and what a unit it is. Taylor Lewan rewarded this week, being named to his first Pro Bowl. And Delaney Walker will go to the Pro Bowl for the second straight year. Titans get right to the line. Mariota looking to go back to the air, setting up the screen pass, which is incomplete. Intended for DeMarco Murray. Telvin Smith on the coverage. As we look at that Jacksonville defense, Malik Jackson, 4.5 sacks in his first year in Jacksonville. Telvin Smith, who had the coverage on that play, tied for 5th in the league with 14 tackles for a loss. And Jonathan Cyprien had a career high 17 tackles last week in Houston. DeMarco Murray with his first carry of the day, trying to reverse field, and he is tackled for a 1-yard gain. Paul Posluszny and a host of others coming up to stop DeMarco Murray, who's second in the NFL this year in rushing yards. Only Ezekiel Elliott has more.
And this is a Tennessee Titans run game that has already established itself throughout the NFL as one of the very best. In fact, in their last 71 runs, that goes back a couple of games, 2.5 games. Only one run has been stopped for negative yardage. It's for -1 yard. They are very productive in the run game.
Tennessee third in the NFL on third downs this year. Third down and 8. Mariota over the middle, juggled and incomplete. Dangerous pass, nearly intercepted by Posluszny, and the Jaguars defense does the job on Tennessee's opening drive.
It's critical for Jacksonville to get Tennessee into 3rd and long. This is exactly where they want their defense to be on 3rd down. They've struggled getting turnovers this year, and really it's been because they have not forced enough 3rd and long situations and forced teams into throwing when they knew they were going to throw.
Brett Kern to kick it away to Brian Walters, shielding himself from the sun. He will return this from the 15-yard line. Walters to the 25. A 9-yard return after a 43-yard punt from Brett Kern. Jacksonville with a 7-0 lead on Tennessee. Second drive for the Jags. Blake Bortles threw for a career-low 92 yards last week in Houston. He had 57 on the opening drive for Jacksonville. On first down, play action. Bortles steps up, fires it to Ivory, and Ivory is taken down at the 27-yard line by Valentino Blake.
Blake Bortles, one thing I can tell you about this kid, and I don't know if we can keep calling him a kid, but he's in his 3rd year now. He is a tough guy. I mean, he not only physically but mentally tough. To go through what he's been through his first 3 years and to come in and handle himself and be accountable like he has every single time we've seen him, pretty impressive.
Second down and 8. Ivory trying the left side, has a little bit of room, and a first down for the Jaguars to the 40-yard line. Daquan Jones brings down Ivory.
Yeah, you talk about what Blake Bortles has been through as we watch Ivory off the left side. You know, you talk about a young quarterback and an offense who's had 3 different coordinators, and now they're on an interim head coach. It's been tough for a young quarterback not only to lead a football team, but also to be a quarterback who can be productive in that kind of environment. If you ask me, that's one of the things that did not go well for Gus Bradley, his offensive coaching staff.
10-yard run for Ivory. A little trickery here by the Jags. The screen right back to Ivory. Stiff arms McCain and out of bounds just short of midfield.
This play had a chance of being a much bigger play. Ivory a little bit impatient. You see the play action. They're going to fake a reverse off of it too. But Ivory, you're going to see he's out in front of his offensive lineman. If he would have waited a split second longer, he would have had linemen leading him up on those Titans defenders. That could have been a big play for Jacksonville.
Good enough for a first down. 3 straight plays to Ivory, who's now on the sideline getting a breather. And TJ Yeldon has an ankle injury. His return is questionable. So that is Corey Grant at running back, and he takes the handoff into Tennessee territory. Just the 6th carry this year for Corey Grant. NFL on CBS is now on CBS All Access. Stream your local games live. Go to cbs.com/NFL to try it free.
You knew you were going to get a little bit different energy level from Jacksonville. Even the Tennessee Titans players told us when they switched into the interim mode with Mike Mularkey last year, they beat New Orleans, and it was because they felt energized by the change in their leadership.
Ivory back in play action. Bortles on the move, throws on the run to Robinson, who's got it at the 30-yard line. Another Jacksonville first down. Valentino Blake brings him down, but not before Robinson gets 18.
Well, you see the athletic ability of Blake Bortles here. Off the run action, bootlegging out to the left. And the Titans told us to a man yesterday, including Mike Mularkey, head coach, when Bortles gets outside and is throwing the football on the move, he is very, very dangerous. If they give him the edge like that, it's going to be a long day for the Tennessee Titans.
Bortles is 6 for 6 to start the game. Up the middle, not much doing that time. for the Jaguars ground game. And Ivory, how about Robinson? Had 2 catches all of last week. He's already got 3 in the first quarter today for 54 yards.
Yeah, the entire offense struggled a week ago in Houston. And really, the fact that they evaporated in the last 2.5 quarters of that game is really what cost them the game. Their defense had too many snaps to play, and their offense just was nowhere to be found.
Ivory on second down, cuts it back, has a first down and more inside the 15-yard line. First and 10 for Jacksonville.
One of the things I'm surprised about here, look at the push from the offensive line of the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is the offense that is very, very average, generally speaking, from a rushing standpoint. 97 yards a game, the Jaguars against the Titans defense has been very, very stout. Last week, the Kansas City Chiefs only had 249 yards after the one big play Kansas City got from Tyreek Hill.
Corey Grant, his second carry today, has the 10, and Grant spins his way down to the 6-yard line. Well, last week in Kansas City, you mentioned it, Tennessee fell behind 14-0, came back to win the game on the suck-up field goal as time expired, but Jacksonville has dominated play here in the first quarter.
Yeah, on first drive, Tyreek Hill went for 68 yards and a touchdown, but that defense for Tennessee toughened up and got after Kansas City the rest of the game. Right here, Jacksonville having their way.
Grant remains the running back on second down and 2. Grant. And Grant does not get to the chains. It will be 3rd and short for Jacksonville.
Yeah, Grant thought he might put his foot in the ground, just get enough to get a first down on 2nd and very short. Just took a chance. The play was designed to go all the way outside. You see the offensive lineman trying to hook the defenders to get him towards the middle of the field. Grant just thought, well, I'm just going to stick my nose in, try and get the first down, and could not do it.
Long drive continues as Marcus Mariota watches on the Tennessee sideline. It's 3rd and 2. Bortles, end zone for Robinson, juggles it, and incompletes. Blake on the coverage, and it's clear that early on the Jags are targeting Valentino Blake, who is starting in place of the injured Jason McCourty.
And it looks like Jacksonville's going to go for it here on 4th down. Heck, yeah, they're coming out with an extra
Number
offensive
70
lineman.
has reported eligible. 70 is
4th and 2.
eligible.
I like the mentality that Doug Marrone is bringing to this football team. Now remember, last week against Kansas City, this is where the Tennessee Titans excelled. They stopped Kansas City in a 4th and goal situation and also held them just 1 and 4 in red zone opportunities.
4th down and 2. Jacksonville 35% on 4th downs this year. And the play clock expires. A delay of game.
Offense.
Yeah,
5-yard penalty remains. 4th down.
That's by design. They went with a hard count. It's a short field goal. Actually, it's less than a field goal, or was at that point. Yeah, that was all by design. They had no intention of running a play. They were going to try and shift, give another hard count, try and get Tennessee off sides.
Less than a PAT.
Less than a PAT, right?
Yes. But yeah, they were just trying to get a cheapie from the Tennessee Titans.
So Jason Myers comes out, second-year kicker out of Marist. And this will be a 29-yard field goal attempt from Myers.
A cheapie? I like it.
And the kick is good. Good start for Jacksonville. They lead it 10-0. 2 weeks ago, the Jaguars took part in their holiday toy shopping event. The event provided an opportunity for 50 children to shop for their families. Children were put into groups of 4 and paired with a Jaguars player, and each child received a $100 gift card and a calculator to help them budget and select their items. Happy holidays from all of us here at CBS. Everyone decked out here at Everbank Field, and the Jaguars have not won a game here in Jacksonville in over a year. December 13th of last year is the last time the Jags won in Jacksonville. They have never gone an entire year winless in their home city. They do have one home win this year, technically, because their game in London against the Colts was considered a home game. This will be a touchback by Jacksonville. The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. The 2017 Kia Sorento. Learn more at kia.com. Haynes with Fresh IQ Advanced Odor Protection Technology. And by Bud Light, strike gold and you could win Super Bowl tickets for life. Second drive for the Titans. Only had the ball for 90 seconds here in the first quarter. From the 25-yard line, Marcus Mariota in the shotgun. It's DeMarco Murray. And Murray has the 30-yard line.
One thing this Tennessee Titans team will not do, they will not panic. We saw examples of that last week. We've seen it several times during the course of the season. This team will not get away from the run game as they're going up tempo, no huddle here, but they will stay with the run game and fight their way back into the ball game.
Murray again, and tough sledding for the Titans on the ground to start this game. Yeah, we spoke with Mike Mularkey last night, and he said the best word to describe his team this year is resilient. Fell behind 14-0 last week, came back and won. Down 10-0 here, as you said, he doesn't expect his team to panic. Third down and 4. With 5 on the play clock, Mariota. Plenty of time. Looking for Murray. Great catch by DeMarco Murray for a first down. Out towards midfield. Telvin Smith makes the tackle. That was a precise pass by Mariota. He put it right where he needed it to be.
Yeah, very poised. And you said we talked to Mike Mularkey also. One of the things they've learned about their team is that in the Denver game, they thought they should have gone no huddle a little earlier. That helped them in Kansas City. And now today, here in the first quarter, they've gone no huddle to get a spark to this offense.
Mariota taking a shot down the middle of the field, wide open but incomplete. Rashard Matthews could not get there, but he had a step on the Jacksonville coverage.
Oh, they had the matchup they wanted. They had Rashard Matthews, a speedy wide receiver, down the field on number 50, Telvin Smith, a linebacker who is arguably one of, if not the fastest linebacker in the league. But if that should be a mismatch, and that's one Marcus Mariota has to take that chance. They're going to look back at that one and say, boy, we got to hit that play.
Empty backfield on 2nd and 10. Mariota over the middle to Walker, incomplete. Trying a one-handed catch. And this is something that Doug Marrone told us yesterday when we met with him. The Titans love to go to the middle of the field. We've seen that the entire first quarter. They want to try to force Mariota to throw to the outside. But so far, Mariota's been trying to work that middle.
Yeah, Doug Marrone, cut his teeth as an offensive player. He's an offensive lineman as a player. He's an offensive coordinator with New Orleans. He senses things about quarterbacks, and I think that he's right. You've got to force your opponent's quarterback to be uncomfortable and look to other places. And so far, they've shut off the middle of the field really well.
Titans just 25% on 3rd and 10 or longer this year. Mariota chased out on the run, throws, and it's broken up. Jalen Ramsey got a hand on that one, and it's 4th down.
Well, he played that absolutely perfectly. He gave Marcus Mariota the perception that he was open. He was hoping Marcus, you're going to see coming across the field, as Marcus Mariota breaks contained, he sees a wide receiver wide open, he thinks, but Jalen Ramsey was just waiting for that commitment to the throw, timed it perfectly, and broke it up.
Ramsey's team-leading 10th pass defense of the year, and Kern punts for the 2nd time. Walters again fighting the sun, this time a fair catch at the 15-yard line. 1:56 to go, opening quarter, 10-0 Jacksonville. Jaguars with a 10-0 lead. Tennessee in control of its own destiny in the AFC South. 2 wins and they are division champions. Ivory on 1st down, and he is stuffed. Thrown back by Aaron Wallace and Wesley Woodyard. Aerial coverage of today's game is being provided by DirecTV.
That's a nice shot right there.
Yeah, well, very nice shot. Beautiful day here in Jacksonville. One of the things that Doug Marrone said that this Titans defense is very, very good at setting the edge. Derek Morgan and Brian Aratco, two of the very best outside linebackers right there, set that edge very strong.
Loss of 2 on first down. Bortles play action. He's hit and sacked. Sean Spence, one of the first to get back there for the Titans.
Yeah, Gerald Casey also coming up the middle was also in on that pressure. You see him coming clean, swung his legs. Spence came in and cleaned him up.
You know, I tell you, it's good coaching by Dick LeBeau on the sidelines. You know, this team showed up a little bit flat on both sides of the ball. Now Dick LeBeau saying, you know what, if you want to get your team into it, send some pressure, let your defense turn them loose a little bit, and see if you can give them a spark, and it worked on that play.
Second sack of the season for Spence, 3rd and long for Jacksonville. Bortles stumps it down well short of a first, caught by Alex Ellis, his second catch of the season, but the Titans defense for the first time today forces Brad Nortman to come out and punt it away. Jaguars do have the option of waiting until the second quarter to punt this if they so choose, which I would, because then it would make the returner look into the sun on the return. Instead, they kick it away to Mariani. Mariani is tackled right away. Peyton Thompson making the special teams play. And that is the end of the first quarter with the score, Jacksonville 10, Tennessee nothing. We're back after these messages. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Start of the second quarter in Jacksonville. The Titans have fallen behind 10-0. Let's see how they play this drive. First 10 plays for Tennessee, 7 passes against 3 runs. They begin this one on the ground with DeMarco Murray, and Murray ahead of steam up to the 39-yard line, a gain of 9 on first down.
Yeah, talk about a great play on first down. You saw the big shift in the offensive line. They bring the right tackle all the way over to the left side, outside, line him up as a tight end. They bring all the bunch over, then they run. A lot of times they'll run weak off that. They'll run away from all those guys. On this time, they line it up, and it was student body left, and let's see if they can stop us. 9 yards later, they finally did.
Second and short. Rashard Matthews, the motion man. They hand it off to Murray again. He's got the first down and more. DeMarco Murray out to midfield. A gain of 11 and a Tennessee first down.
Well, you saw the communication going from Marcus Mariota. After the Tennessee Titans made the shift and the Jaguars flipped their whole defense, Marcus Mariota, so well coached in this run game by Terry Robisky, offensive coordinator, and Mike Mularkey. He knew exactly what the check was to attack that defense and motion Rashard Matthews away, and they have a nice gaping hole right up the middle. Very well prepared offensive game plan.
Third straight run on this drive, but this time Jacksonville not fooled as Malik Jackson brings down Murray.
Yeah, that's what all those shifts and motions are designed to do. Not only to confuse the defense, but it also, when you shift, then it shifts the defense. They check out of that defense, and then when you motion after the shift, they've got a check package after that. And believe me, guys like Mike Mularkey and all the entire Terry Robisky, they spend hours dissecting exactly what checks they get to, and it's all about getting a smaller tackler at the point of attack so their big running back can make yards.
Mariota on the run, incomplete. Intended for Rashard Matthews, and he's matched up with Jalen Ramsey, who had the best game of his career last week in Houston. Ramsey, his first interception, a forced fumble, and 5 passes defensed.
Well, this is a read option pass. You saw the defensive end crash down. Marcus Mariota keeps that football, and then he's got the option to run or pass it. I'm not really quite sure why he didn't keep it and just tuck that one and run himself, try and pick up a few yards, instead of just throwing the ball away.
Mariota 2 for 8 to start this game. Third down and 12 for Tennessee. 2 on the play clock. Mariota fires sideline, and it's caught along the sideline. Tajay Sharp went up to get that one, and it's good enough for a Titans first down.
What a catch by Sharp. He's going to come at the top of his break. This one, he's got a guy coming from the inside the pursuit. You can feel that as a wide receiver, but he's well covered by Amakamara. And that great throw, way to go up and spear that catch. That is a big-time play when his team really needed to stay on the field on offense.
They needed 12. They got 13 from Sharp, the rookie out of Massachusetts. First and 10 for Tennessee. DeMarco Murray remains the running back. No Derrick Henry yet for Tennessee. It's a homecoming for Henry. He's from the Jacksonville area. Play action. Mariota loads the time, middle of the field, taking a shot in the end zone, and it's broken up by Ramsey. And now a late flag comes in.
Roughing the passer, number 92, defense.
And Mariota shaking up
15-yard
on the
penalty,
play.
automatic first down.
Sheldon Day called for the penalty.
Well, you look at the other end of this and watch as Mariota gets this off. And he gets flipped to the ground. You can't do that.
Nah, it's a different ball game today, and right there, well played again by Jalen Ramsey.
Jalen Ramsey last week had 4 passes defensed all of this season, and then last week he had 5 by himself, and he gets another huge one right there and stops the drive.
Doug Marrone having a word with Sheldon Day, the rookie out of Notre Dame. Meanwhile, the Jaguars, the most penalized team in terms of yards in the NFL. 15 more moves the Titans inside the 25-yard line. Back to the ground with Murray, trying to get to the outside. Stiff arms Ramsey, and Murray runs out of bounds just short of the sticks.
Yeah, I said a moment ago he stopped the drive. It would have been a stop had not they had a penalty. And now he gets matched up, and this once again is this Tennessee running game where they get a cornerback matched up on the big back coming to the outside, bouncing, and those running backs, those guys, these running backs have got, it's a taser of a stiff arm. Ramsey does a nice job, but DeMarco Murray, when he gets his head on your forehead, you feel it.
But Mike Mularkey, Terry Robisky, they want Jalen Ramsey and any other corners for Jacksonville being in the situation to make those tackles.
Here's Derrick Henry into the game to give Murray a break. Henry to the 10, and Henry first and goal for Tennessee. Derrick Henry, who went to nearby Yulee High School, set a national rushing record with over 12,000 yards, has a ton of family and friends in attendance here today. This game means a lot to him, and he sets up the Titans on the doorstep.
So you're the Jacksonville defense, you got the former rushing champion DeMarco Murray beating you up, and then the Heisman Trophy winner comes in and gives him a break. That's a long day at the office.
And he's bigger.
He's bigger, way bigger.
48 straight red zone drives for Tennessee without a turnover, longest streak in the NFL. On first and goal, Murray stuffed at the line. Jacksonville did a good job last week against Houston, slowing down their run game, which came in 5th in the NFL. They held the Texans to just 79 yards rushing.
Number 77 has reported eligible. 77 is eligible.
This Tennessee Titans team, now as Taylor Lewan reports, is eligible. He has actually been used on occasion for, he has a touchdown reception this year in goal line situation, but Tennessee Titans, the #1 offense in the NFL in the red zone, converting touchdowns over 72% of the time.
Second and goal. Murray inside the 5 and gets down to the 2-yard line. Third and goal. Well, this is what Steve Berlon was referring to against the Colts. Taylor Lewan reported as eligible, and his first NFL catch is his first NFL touchdown.
I think you could call that a scamper into the end zone.
Yeah, it could have been considered a taunt there, Dan, too.
But the reason Tennessee is so good in this area is because they can run it in this area, and it forces the defense to be very aware to jump into the box to stop the run, but then of course they can also throw it, as you just saw.
They spotted just inside the 3-yard line, empty backfield.
It's Delaney Walker against the corner up top. Tight end against the corner.
Mariota flushed out, rolling, fires, caught, touchdown, Tennessee. Rashard Matthews with his 8th touchdown of the year.
You know, what can you say about Marcus Mariota? I mean, this guy, to show you how good he is in the red zone, that's his 33rd touchdown pass of his career in the red zone against 0 interceptions.
0.
0, I said, yes. That's his 18th touchdown pass of the year in the red zone against 0 interceptions.
We spoke to DeMarco Murray. He said, listen, we spend a lot of time on it. We spend Thursdays, and for a lot of teams spend one period on a Friday going over red zone. We spend a lot of time Thursday and Friday during every week, and it really shows. They're a machine in the red zone.
Here's last week's hero, Ryan Succop, for the extra point with 8:59 to go in the first half. And the kick is good. What a year for Rishard Matthews. He had 8 touchdowns his first 4 years combined. That's his 8th of 2016, and the Titans are on the board. The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Honda. Hurry in for great deals during Happy Honda Days. Domino's. Order online at Domino's.com. Amazon Prime. Get free 2-day shipping on millions of items. And by Verizon. It's always a great gift on Verizon. Important drive for the Titans to get on the board. The touchdown pass from Marcus Mariota to Rishard Matthews. And it's a 3-point game here in Jacksonville with 8:59 to go in the first half. Tennessee has won 3 straight games. First time they've done that in the same season since 2011, when Matt Hasselbeck was the starting quarterback. Rejuvenation in Nashville this year. Succop kicks it away, and Walter's the return man, and he will take a knee. Tomorrow, a holiday gift from 60 Minutes, a front row seat to the Broadway hit Hamilton. Tomorrow only, CBS. Well, we had a chance to sit down with Doug Marrone yesterday for a while here at the Everbank Field, and he said, look, he's not going to campaign for the Jaguars head coaching job, but he did make it clear he wants it. He said he's excited for the opportunity here, and he said having been on the inside for the last couple of years, he has a great appreciation for the foundation that's in place, the players who are here. He said not just for me, but for anyone, this is a good job. And one of the other things he also highlighted was the ownership here in Jacksonville. Shad Khan has proven to be very loyal as Chris Ivory runs out of bounds on first down.
You can't put a price on good ownership in the NFL, particularly if you're going out to recruit a head coach, because have you seen teams like Buffalo, like Cleveland, like other franchises who roll head coaches through every 2 years, sometimes even in 1 year? You know, it's going to take some time, and to show the loyalty they did to Gus Bradley, give him a full opportunity to turn things around here, is really enticing to a lot of candidates.
Bortles quick pass to Walters, and he's taken down from behind by Brian Orakpo, and that's going to be right at the chains, maybe a half-yard shy, depending on the spot.
And I think another point that should be made in discussing this whole topic, you know, Doug Marrone, very mixed emotions in stepping into this position because of the respect and gratitude he has for Gus Bradley and the job, the person that he is, the impact that he had on the community here in Jacksonville and this young football team. He was very, very, you know, adamant about making those points to us.
It was a first down, and on 1st and 10 they go to Allen Robinson. And yeah, I thought it was interesting when Doug Marrone told us yesterday that he's called Gus Bradley almost every day this week just to check on him, because he said that when he quit in Buffalo and was kind of up in the air, Gus welcomed him and his family in with open arms, and he wanted to return the favor for Gus now that he's going through a tough week.
Hey, alert, alert! Alert, alert, Mike 54.
6-yard pickup on first down. It's 2nd and 4.
Green is
Ivory on the carry, and as we go down to Chris Fisher.
Andrew, 4 years ago, when Jaguars general manager Dave Caldwell fired then Jags and current Titans head coach Mike Mularkey, he said he was forced to cold call to find candidates for the opening. Now, after the firing of Gus Bradley, with all the talent on the Jaguars roster, candidates have been contacting him. Interim head coach Doug Marrone is on the short list of candidates. Marrone told us he's not focused on removing the interim tag. His goal is to get Jacksonville to play up to their talent level. Andrew.
Yeah, Jason Lockenfora on the NFL Today reported that the Jags have reached out to a search firm to assist them in finding their next head coach, and they do want to talk to Tom Coughlin, who was the first head coach here in Jacksonville, as the pass is complete to Robinson. Let's go back to New York, an NFL Today update with JB and Bart Scott.
An obvious Christmas wish for Cleveland. All Cleveland wants is a win, and Isaiah Crowell is trying to deliver for a 4-yard run. Cleveland takes the lead 14-10.
Back to Andrew Catalan.
All right, guys, thank you very much. Jaguars with a 10-7 lead on the Titans as we approach 6 minutes to go in the first half. 1st and 10 for Jacksonville from their own 49-yard line. Bortles to Walters, and he reaches out close to another Jacksonville first down. Well, Steve Berline, you were the first starting quarterback in Jaguars history, and you played for Tom Coughlin. Now at the age of 70, the Jaguars are interested in bringing him back.
Well, you know, I played for him some. Yes, I was the first quarterback. My tenure lasted about halfway through the third quarter of the first game.
I'm going to have to assess a $1 fine on Andrew for bringing that up.
I do have a little bitterness about how things worked out with Tom Coughlin, but I will tell you this. He would be a great fit if they wanted to bring in an experienced coach who knows how to run a football team, who's proven himself over the years, 2 Super Bowl championships in New York with the Giants. I think that there would be an absolute fantastic move if they can get that worked out for the community and for the organization.
And also, he's a much different football coach now than he was when he was here in Jacksonville and subsequently left Jacksonville, and he would tell you that as well.
Yeah, personal feelings aside, I really do believe he would be a great fit for this job. But there's a lot of other great fits out there as well. It's got to be what the Jaguars determine to be most important from their perspective.
Good drive putting together here for Blake Bortles and the Jaguars. 1st and 10. Bortles, his hit ball came out.
Jacksonville got it back.
Jacksonville has recovered. That is the 6th time this year that Bortles has fumbled the football, but Jacksonville's able to fall on it.
It's an issue because Bortles, you'll see, he's got the ball up high. Then when he goes into that long windup, he bangs it. It looked like against his left tackle. No, it just came out. It just slipped out of his hand. And I don't know what you can do about that.
Jeremy Parnell, the right tackle, bailed him out, recovering that fumble, but Jacksonville loses 9 yards on the play. It's 2nd and 19. Play action to Ivory. Bortles over the middle. What a catch by Marquise Lee at the 35. Great hands by the 3rd-year man out of USC to bring that one in.
You know, it's one of the things about this Jacksonville team that's got to be frustrating for their fans. You see guys come in and make a play like this where they pluck this ball out of the air. And then, you know, on the play before, you see your quarterback just drop the ball when he's in his windup. You see other things that happen that are just so frustrating. And yet, every so often, you see a glimpse of what this team brings to the table. And it's pretty exciting for somebody coming in as a head coach.
3rd down and 7 from the Tennessee 35-yard line. Pressure coming. Bortles hit as he throws, and it's complete to Walters. 1st down, Jacksonville. Walters made the catch right in front of Bryce McCain for a gain of 15.
Well, that's a big hit. I believe it's Brian Orakpo that puts the hit on Blake Bortles. But what a great throw by Blake Bortles under heavy pressure. Orakpo is a big, big man coming full speed right through the midsection of Blake Bortles. Bortles now 14 of 15 on the day. This is a guy that on the season is less than a 60% completion guy, 57.8 to be exact. He's really playing efficiently today.
Early on, clear the Titans miss. Jason McCourty, 1st and 10. Bortles screen to Ivory. Ivory at the 15, at the 10, Ivory at the 5. Ivory still going, and Ivory is taken down inside the 5-yard line. 1st and goal for Jacksonville. Avery Williamson saved the touchdown.
It's a masterful play call at just the right time. They were throwing the football all over the yard, and just when you get the idea that Tennessee wants to bring some heat after the big hit on Bortles the last play, they come back with the screen pass at just the right time, and Ivory catches it. He turned up, and even they were way outside the 12. I thought it was going to be a touchdown. What a great, great play call at just the right time.
Bortles is 8 for 8 on this drive in 9 of his last 10 overall, 15 of 16 on the day.
The
2-minute warning. First and goal for the Jaguars when we come back. 2-minute warning, and Jacksonville has first and goal from the 1-yard line. Tyson Alualu, the defensive lineman, reported as eligible as the fullback. They give it to Ivory. Ivory following his blocks it in. Touchdown, Jacksonville. Third rushing touchdown this season for Chris Ivory, and the Jaguars out to a surprising 16-7 lead.
Well, there's no frills or deception here. Line up the big guys, Tyson Alualu. I mean, just get in on him, and then they bring,
what a block.
Yeah, they bring everybody around the side on that side to put him in over the line. That was just
Tyson Alualu absolutely pancaked Wesley Woodyard right there on that play. I mean,
that's a lot of weight to get stopped.
yeah, coming full speed right at you. That's asking a lot.
By time, the longest drive this season for Jacksonville, 7 minutes and 2 seconds. Blake Bortles 8 of 8 on the drive, and the extra point is no good by Jason Myers. Just the second time this season he's missed an extra point, so the score remains 16-7. Beautiful day in Jacksonville. Happy holidays from all of us at CBS. Chris Ivory, the touchdown, giving Jacksonville a 16-7 lead. 1:57 to go in the first half, and the Titans have all 3 timeouts remaining. The kickoff by Myers is a touchback, so Tennessee will start at the 25-yard line when we come back. Doesn't look like Christmas Eve right here in Jacksonville. Temperature in the 70s. Coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report, join JB, Tony, Bart, Boomer, and Coach Cower. They'll have all the latest NFL scores and highlights in Week 16, all coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report. 3 timeouts for the Titans. They trail by 9.
Depends on where you're from, what Christmas Eve looks like. A California boy like me, this looks like Christmas.
Mariota throwing on first down, and it's caught for a first down by Tajay Sharp, his second catch of the day. Prince Amukamara on the coverage.
Now, these are the types of throws that Doug Marrone says he wants to make Marcus Mariota make. Outside, as Steve Tasker said earlier, take away the middle of the field, make him throw to the strength of your defense, which is outside.
Oh, Mariota is taken down. Dante Fowler with his first sack since week 2 against the Chargers.
That was a sack. Now, by the way, Dante Fowler got there in a hurry.
Tennessee, first team timeout.
Timeout on the field. Tennessee called timeout. They have 2 remaining. Dante Fowler told us yesterday that this game was personal. Jaguars, he said, were embarrassed by the Titans on national television back in Week 8. They were looking for payback today. That was a big hit by Fowler on Mariota. An 8-yard loss. It's 2nd and 18. Fowler coming again. Mariota gets rid of it and completes it to Kendall Wright. And now they're saying he was incomplete. Jalen Ramsey with a big hit on Wright, and it's 3rd and long.
Yeah, you look, Ramsey, I mean, the more we want, we've seen him a number of times, watched him and covered him. He is really a budding superstar, as big as you can be as a defensive back in a league that's dominated by quarterbacks and pass rushers. He's making a name for himself around the league as a true playmaker and a guy that you really have to contend with as an offense.
His second pass defense of the half, and now 3rd and 18 for Tennessee. They'll run it with Derrick Henry. And Henry is taken down short of the 30-yard line. Let's see if Doug Marrone calls a timeout now, and he does. With
Timeout.
1:16 to go. Jags have 2 timeouts remaining. We'll be back in 30 seconds. 1:16 to go, and the Jaguars will get the ball back here in the first half with 2 timeouts. Kern punting to Walters, who awaits the kick at his own 25. Drifts back and calls a fair catch at the 21. Coming up, Verizon Halftime Report. Our guys back in New York will have all the latest scores and highlights from around the league. That's coming up on the Verizon halftime report. Let's go back to that Dante Fowler sack because you guys up here in disagreement.
We're about to fight about this.
No. Fowler hits him top of the head to the helmet. That's a fine.
No, it isn't.
That's
it wasn't
a
top. That was
fine.
face mask to the ear.
You're
and the
crazy.
referee was standing right there. And I'm a quarterback, former quarterback.
He hit him.
That was
with
a
his
great
head.
play.
He's going to get a FedEx this next week. He's going to be fined. I'm telling you right now.
I don't agree with that.
He's going to be. I'm telling you.
Merry Christmas from all of us here in the booth as Blake Bortles completes it to Grant, and he's shoved out of bounds at the 27-yard line by Stafford. Let's see if the Jaguars can at least get into field goal range with 2 timeouts and 1:03 to go.
Of all the things you've seen in the league trying to protect quarterbacks, even when you get a free run, you still have to watch where you hit it. And as Blake Bortles, it's hard to imagine him having a better half after the game he put on the board last week in Houston. He came out this game and has been spot on.
You just saw the numbers. He has not had a better first half. He's 16 of 17 for 174 yards over the middle, and it's caught by the tight end Ben Koyak. And that's going to be enough for a Jacksonville first down. They hustle to the line as the clock continues to tick. 50 seconds to go. Bortles looking for another screen. Nobody home and just throws it down incomplete with 41 seconds to go. The clock is stopped.
In the area.
Well, Bortles told us yesterday that 65% completion is his goal. He's a little bit above that today at 17 of 19. But the other thing he said is he wants completions. He wants to go out and play at a very high, efficient level. Do whatever he can do over the last few weeks of this season, 2 weeks, to confuse the Jaguars in their decision going forward. He wants to play well and make them believe they've got the right quarterback.
He had 11 straight completions until that last one, and he completes this one to Robinson, reversing field. Robinson tripped up inside the 35-yard line. Jacksonville calls timeout. We'll be back in 30 seconds. Coming into the day, Allen Robinson had a total of 105 yards receiving in his last 5 games. That last catch, which went for 37 yards, puts him at 103 in the first half.
Yeah, and he only had 1 catch for more than 25 yards on the season coming in. He had 19 last year. That's his second one today.
Jaguars with 1st and 10 from the 30. Bortles loads up looking for Marquise Lee and incomplete.
That's the kind of throw that Blake Bortles, he's so frustrated about it. That was a bad throw. He had Lee on the near side, but watch this man coverage. They brought some pressure.
Watch the blitz from up on the inside. A lot of pressure coming up inside. It's a clean, skinny post for Blake Bortles. He is on rhythm. That play could not have come up better. They had the right play called at the right time, and Bortles executed as he's been doing all day today.
1 timeout left for Jacksonville, 27 seconds to go. 2nd down and 10. Bortles flicks a dangerous pass and incomplete. He tried a little shovel pass to Ivory, and that was nearly intercepted.
Yeah, and if it weren't for the dangerous job that was a pretty good job getting rid of it to stop the clock. He was going to get sacked. You don't want to take a sack right there. You want to conserve the time, and to throw the incompletion was a pretty good idea, although it did look like that.
Be careful.
That was
That's one of those that makes you scratch your head a little bit,
yeah.
you know.
Well, that's why also you see the great throws and you see stuff like that, but he's the type of quarterback that most coaches believe they can fix. And that's why it's so intriguing to think about this opportunity here for head coach.
3rd down and 10. Bortles taking a deep shot for Robinson. Great adjustment. Did he get it? No. Incomplete. Nearly a phenomenal grab by Allen Robinson. Instead, it's 4th down.
That really was almost a catch of the year right there. Allen Robinson fully laid out. What I love about the way Bortles is playing today, as we see this ball fingertips. He doesn't have control of it. He's got to have control. But I like the way Bortles is throwing the football, that he's giving the receivers a chance down the field to make the plays. We saw the game last week in Houston. We've seen a lot of games this year and over the last couple years with Blake Bortles. One of the most frustrating things is his down the field throws. He's not been giving his receivers a chance to make the play. Today, he sure is doing it.
We'll be back in 30 seconds. No timeout on the field now, so Myers is out to attempt a 48-yard field goal attempt. Missed an extra point earlier, and this field goal is good. So with 11 seconds to go, the Jaguars extend their lead. It's 19-7. And now, I promise, we'll be back in 30 seconds. 12-point Jacksonville lead with Tennessee having so much to play for. Win this one, and then next week in Nashville against Houston would be for the AFC South title. But right now, the Titans trailing by 12.
Yeah, they were Jacksonville Jaguars had a 12-point lead at halftime last week, 20-8 over the Houston Texans, and couldn't hold on to it in the second half, although all of us agree this is a different Jacksonville-looking offense and defense than they were a week ago in Houston, even though they did hold that lead.
Mariani awaits the kick on his goal line. Myers doesn't give him a chance, boots this one through, and we'll see now how Tennessee plays at just 11 seconds remain. They do get the ball to start the second half.
Yeah, I expect Mariota to take a knee. 11 seconds, there's really nothing you can do here. Take a knee, go in, and just remind your troops. Mularkey's going to remind his team they've been in this situation. They don't expect Marcus Mariota to panic. He always is consistent. I think they'll come out and try and make a statement on that first drive of the second half.
Total yards in the first half, 263 for Jacksonville, 98 for Tennessee. Titans with just 47 yards rushing. And a nice hand from the Jaguars fans here at Everbank Field as they are trying to see their home team win for the first time in Jacksonville in over a year. Chris Fisher's with Doug Marrone.
Is this the way you expected your team to respond, given all the adversity that they faced this week, especially Blake Bortles in the offense?
Well, again, I think I'm going to go back to I think Coach Bradley, obviously in the past, has done a great job with these players as far as being able to play hard. So it doesn't surprise me the way they've responded. You know, we've got to clean up some things on the defensive side, just making sure we take care of our edges. Obviously, they're trying to go over the top. You know, offensively, we can't have a negative run like we did in the sack and put us back there for the field position game. You know, in special teams, we got to make those, those conversions. So, you know, we're happy where we're going now, but hey, we still got a lot of football left to play. So, you know, I'm excited to get in that locker room, get these guys going, come out here and try to finish this game.
What is that message to your team? You held a similar lead last week in Houston.
Well, again, I can't remember. I don't know what that message was last week. I'm just concentrating on this week. Our message is going to be very simple. I'm going to go in that locker room. We're going to make sure our plans. We're going to make sure that we make the proper adjustments for this next half, and then we're going to make sure that the players understand those adjustments and finish the game.
Thank you, Coach.
Right, thank you,
Andrew?
Jacksonville trying to stop a 9-game losing streak. They lead at 19-7. We'll be back with the Verizon halftime report after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS.
Marcus Mariota here with the Tennessee Titans. Just wanted to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holiday.
And the Titans linebackers very festive for their trip to Jacksonville yesterday, all decked out. And how about Allen Robinson? This goes back, well, way back for Allen Robinson, opening his Christmas presents as a 3-year-old back in 1996. It's been a very Merry Christmas so far for the Jacksonville Jaguars as they lead the Titans 19-7. Back in the booth with Steve Berline and Steve Tasker, I'm Andrew Catalon. Didn't really know what to expect out of Jacksonville today with the coaching change this week and Doug Marrone taking over. So far, so good. They look great.
Yeah, the Jaguars look like they're willing to play the Grinch role, taking away Christmas from the Tennessee Titans. Well, I don't know which Jacksonville team this is. Almost 300 yards of total offense, holding the Titans under 100. This is a really impressive performance by the Jaguars.
Follow your favorite team all season long. Go to itunes.com/NFL. Jason Myers will kick this one away. Tennessee will start with the football in the second half. It's Mark Mariani back deep.
Two things Tennessee's got to do this half. They've got to get Marcus Mariota going. He's only got 59 yards passing, and they've got to get some defensive stops against Blake Bortles in Jacksonville.
Let's check in with Chris Fisher.
Thanks, Andrew. Mike Mularkey coming out at half said offensively that he needs to get his team into rhythm. Marcus Mariota has struggled throwing the ball because the Jaguars have dominated the time possession clock. It hasn't allowed Mariota to be able to hit his wide receivers and build that consistency. And defensively, they need to get off the field on third downs and take away the screen pass from Blake Bortles. Andrew?
All right, Chris, thank you very much. Marcus Mariota just 5 of 12 for 59 yards. Titans trying to keep the momentum going of this 3-game win streak and set up a winner-take-all showdown in Nashville next week for the AFC South crown against Houston. On first down, Mariota looking to throw, keeping himself now, and Mariota slides down at the 30-yard line. As we take a look at some of the numbers from the first half, 263 yards of offense for Jacksonville.
Very, very one-sided, and that obviously leads to the score being what it is, 19-7. But one thing, remember what DeMarco Murray told us in our meeting yesterday. Marcus Mariota literally never changes his expressions, his mentality, his emotional level. He is a cold-blooded killer, and he will continue to keep his cool out there.
And Mariota hands off to Murray, nowhere to go. Stacked up by the Jacksonville defense. Avery Jones and Paul Posluszny getting back there.
I think one thing that Tennessee's got to do is go no huddle. I mean, they need a spark. They did it a little bit in the first half, particularly when Jacksonville got off to the fast start. Now they're huddling up. And I see it in the first drive after halftime. It's so critical for a team to make sure they've got all their T's crossed and their I's dotted. They want to make sure they get all the calls, but sooner or later they're going to have to do something to get this Jacksonville defense off their back.
Tennessee 3 for 6 on third downs. It's 3rd and 6 here to open up the second half. Pressure coming. Mariota's pass deflected and incomplete. Jacksonville's defense again does the job, forcing a 3-and-out to start the second half.
Well, the Jaguars did not hide anything. Look right here. Look at all the people up on the line of scrimmage. They're just bringing it across the board, telling Marcus Mariota, let's see if we can get to you before you can get the pass off. The pressure is there, coming off the edge around Jack Conklin, the right tackle, and that's what happened as far as Marcus Mariota not being able to get that pass off.
Kern punting for the 4th time today, a good one that comes down inside the 20-yard line. 13:28 to go, third quarter. Jaguars going back on offense. What a first half for Blake Bortles, 18-23 for 217 yards and a touchdown pass. His team leads it 19-7. Early third quarter, and the Jaguars will start this drive at their own 17-yard line with Ivory on the ground, and he takes it out across the 20. Ball came out late. They're saying this is a fumble, and Tennessee has recovered.
No signals.
They
the
have
officials are
not
going to talk
signaled it
over.
yet. Ivory has had a fumbling problem with 9 fumbles in his last 2 years, and now they're saying it's Tennessee football.
That ball came out
Ruling
fast.
on the field was a fumble recovered by Tennessee.
But it's going to be a real question. Now they'll look at it. It's a turnover, so they're going to review it automatically. That's going to be very close. There's nothing there. It's going to be hard to overturn. It's going to be so close. And let's see something here. His knee.
That's the one where you're whatever way it's ruled, you're hoping it's going your way,
right?
Because it's going to be hard to overturn that.
5th fumble this year by Ivory. 3rd time he's lost a fumble.
We will review the previous play.
And as Steve Tasker mentioned, all turnovers will be looked at.
Andrew, you hit the nail on the head, though. Chris Ivory does have a fumbling problem. We've seen him put it on the ground several times this year. And as a running back in this situation with the team as desperate for a win as you could possibly be, you have to protect the football. That's all he can be thinking about.
We'll be back in 30 seconds.
The ruling, after reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. It's fumbled. Please set the game clock to 13:23.
So Jacksonville's turnover ratio on the season is now -17. Only the Jets are worse at -19.
Well, be careful now. Sudden change. A lot of offensive coordinators will go for the gusto right here. Try and take a a deep shot to try and make the change pay off immediately. We'll see if Terry Robisky and Mike Mularkey decide to go with that.
Mariota in the shotgun. Play action. Mariota over the middle, end zone, incomplete. Tried to squeeze it into a tight window to Delaney Walker, and the corner, Prince Amukamara, on the coverage. Let's go back to the fumble recovery.
Denoris Searcy's going to dive in on top of this and wrestle it away from Hoyak. And comes away with it, and that's why they get it. It's a clear recovery.
Searcy played for Doug Marrone in Buffalo, and Marrone was the head coach of the Bills for 2 seasons. Second down and 10. Eleventh carry for DeMarco Murray, and he gets a couple of yards. It'll bring up third down and long for Tennessee.
Well, my comment I was going to make if Jacksonville had not turned the ball over so quickly was that they have got to keep the pedal on the metal in this second half. You do not want to do anything to let your opponent who's down and feeling like they're getting kicked around a little bit. You don't want to give them any burst of, enthusiasm, energy, momentum. And that Jaguars have failed miserably starting out the second half.
But their defense has come up big today, holding Tennessee to 3 for 7 on third downs. It's 3rd and 8. Mariota incomplete with the pressure coming. It was Dante Fowler getting back there to apply pressure, and out comes the field goal unit for Tennessee.
Yeah, this ball was tipped as well, and once again, Jaguars bringing pressure right off the top. This ball doesn't, Fowler gets a piece of his arm as he tries to release that. You see him right there in his face, and he hits the elbow, and that's why that pass had no chance to be completed.
That was all-out blitz, cover 0, no safety in the back of the defense for the Jaguars. Pressure just got to Mariota.
Ryan Suckup from 42 yards. He has made 34 in a row inside 50 yards. And make it 35 in a row. The great run continues for the AFC's Special Teams Player of the Week. New Year's Day on CBS when someone is kidnapped. This is the team that brings them back alive. Catch the series premiere of the new thriller Ransom Sunday, January 1st after 60 minutes only CBS. So the Ivory fumble leads to 3 points for Tennessee. They now trail by 9 early third quarter. Houston Texans tied with the Titans atop the AFC South, play later tonight against the Cincinnati Bengals. And a touchback. The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That is transparency. The Home Depot, more saving, more doing. Mobile Strike, download and play now, free from the App Store. And by Ram Trucks, America's longest lasting pickups. TJ Yeldon has been ruled out for the rest of the game with an ankle injury. So Ivory, who just fumbled the last time he got it, is next to Bortles, who's looking to throw on first down. And that one incomplete. Walter's the intended receiver, but a flag comes in. Down at the 29-yard line.
Holding. Number 23 defense, 5-yard penalty automatic. First down.
That's the first penalty today against the Tennessee Titans. It goes on Bryce McCain. Titans last week in the win over Kansas City only had 2 penalties.
I see 4-man rush for Tennessee.
There's holding Walters over the middle. It gives Jacksonville an automatic first down. Ivory trying to get to the edge, and he can't. Wesley Woodyard and Derek Morgan bringing down Ivory, and it's second down.
Yeah, that's one. Ivory, the play is designed to go outside. We talked about how good the Tennessee Titans defense is at setting that edge. Right there, Derek Morgan, perfect example of what you're supposed to do to set that edge. Ivory's got to cut that up inside and try and get that back to the line of scrimmage or a little bit more. Not a good decision on his part to try and stretch. There's Dick LeBeau the mastermind defensive coordinator for the Tennessee Titans.
His 58th year in the NFL. On 2nd and 15, Bortles pulls it down. Now he's going to run and slides down for a short pickup on the play. It'll be 3rd and long for Jacksonville.
Yeah, you know, if there's one guy in the entire NFL that knows how to make halftime adjustments, it's the 58-year veteran. Dick LeBeau's in the Hall of Fame. And just what a guy he has been over the course of his career. Even last night, he always does something at the holiday season that has almost become mythical in its proportions, but gave his team a gift last night in their last team meeting before this game, and now making sideline adjustments on game day.
3rd and 14. And Bortles just throws this one down. The pressure was coming. 4 straight incompletions by Blake Bortles. A little pushing and shoving after this play. Now flag comes in.
They're calling it against the Tennessee Titans. Personal foul. That's going to give the Jaguars a 1st down. If my read of the reactions is accurate down there.
After the play was over, personal foul, grabbing the face mask. Number 59, defense. 15-yard penalty, automatic. 1st down.
Wow, that is a big mistake by Wesley Woodyard, as Jacksonville was ready to go 3 and out, and now Woodyard, bottom of your screen, will keep the Jaguars drive alive, mixing it up with Brandon Linder, the center.
Well, they just stay locked up for a few seconds here, and this is, and it just keeps going and keeps going and keeps going. There's the mask right there.
That's just a 9-year veteran completely losing his composure.
Ivory. And Ivory across the 45-yard line. First 73 plays of the game, Tennessee was not penalized. Now they have 2 penalties in their last 3 plays before that run from Ivory.
We cannot under or overplay the significance of that penalty. I mean, that was a 3 and out with your team just coming off a field goal. You're going to get the ball back in decent field position. You've got all the momentum, and a 9-year veteran leader on your team makes a dumb decision like that, gives the ball back to Jacksonville. That is a major, major mistake on his part.
2nd down and 4. Bortles deep shot down the sideline, and it's caught, but Robinson was out of bounds.
That's another throw that Bortles has got to keep in bounds. I mean, Robinson's running down there. You're going to give him a chance. Keep the ball in the field of play, and time again, Bortles on these deep balls. If you're going to take a shot, give yourself a chance to come through. What Robinson's got, that's open, and now he's running out of bounds. He has to run out of bounds to make that catch. It's just frustrating when you see a quarterback who can make all the throws not make the throw.
Nathaniel Hackett, I think, said it best about Bortles. Sometimes he makes the easy things look hard and the hard things look really easy. 5 straight incompletions for Bortles, and now 3rd and 4. And a one-handed grab by Ben Koyak. What a catch from the first-year man out of Notre Dame. 1st down, Jacksonville.
Well, you want to know how to make a quarterback look better, make a catch like this.
Wow. What a catch.
How many times do you see it? I mean, you know this, Steve Berline. One guy on your team will just do something like that to give you just let you stay on the field, and it turns into something good.
1st down and 10. Ivory, nowhere to go. McCain makes that tackle for Tennessee. We mentioned the tough throws that Bortles has made for his receivers, plays that he should be making that he's not.
Yeah, he's had a history of this. Now today in the 1st half, he was absolutely perfect, giving the receivers every chance, but all of these throws, the receivers, a lot of them, they make the catch, but they're going out of bounds. But Blake Bortles is determining whether or not it's going to be a completed pass by where he locates the ball. Out of bounds does not give them a chance, and it has to stop at some point. We thought he was doing pretty well in the 1st half.
Ivory lost 2 yards on 1st down. It's 2nd and 12. Bortles to Walters across the 40. And that's going to be close to another 1st down for Jacksonville. 5th catch today for Brian Walters.
Walters bounced around the NFL for a while, came out of Cornell. And he's one of those guys, just smart, heady player. They put him back to field punts. He's and I'm not trying to be funny, he's more of a punt catcher than he is a punt returner. They trust him. He's sure-handed. He doesn't turn it over. And for a team that struggled at times, that's exactly what you want.
Just short of a first down. It's 3rd and 1. Bortles moving the pocket right. Pressure coming. Bortles incomplete. Was looking for Walters again. And now what does Doug Marrone do on 4th and 1? He's sending out his punter, Nortman.
He's sending out the kicker.
He is sending Myers out as well. Nortman's the holder.
From 56.
It's a long field goal. Myers this year 5 for 9 from 50 plus, but his season long is 55 yards.
Well, we said it earlier, if you're the interim head coach and you want to make a case to keep the job, you're going to do some things that maybe are unexpected.
And the conditions are perfect right now.
Myers, kick on the way, right down the middle. Does he have enough leg? Yes!
Easy.
Jason Myers with a 56-yard field goal, a season long. Aerial coverage of today's game is provided by DirecTV. Jaguars lead 22-10. Wesley Woodyard with that face mask penalty kept the drive alive for the Jaguars, and it led to 3 points for Jacksonville. Their lead is 12. Myers kicking it away to Mariani, who takes a knee. Sunday, January 22nd, 18 people will go on the run from a team of expert hunters. CBS presents the real-life thriller Hunted, premiering Sunday, January 22nd, after the AFC Championship game, only CBS.
Well, you made the point, Andrew, again, talking about Wesley Woodyard, and you're talking about something that is controllable. If a team makes another play on you and they gash you for a big game, that's one thing. But to give them possession of the ball back and more points on the board by making a dumb decision, that's inexcusable.
DeMarco Murray on first down. A flag is down. Murray still going to the 30-yard line.
Yeah, that penalty was like a turnover. And it ended up in the same 3 points that Tennessee got off of Jacksonville's turnover.
Illegal formation offense. Only 6 men on the line of scrimmage. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
Wow, you come out, try and regroup at halftime if you're the Tennessee Titans, trailing by 12 points, make some adjustments, you try and get it together and get something going, and now you start taking penalties.
Houston and Tennessee tied at the top of the AFC South with 8 and 6 records. Both teams control their own destiny because they meet next week in Week 17. However, Tennessee has some work to do here with 7:45 to go in the 3rd quarter. The penalty makes it 1st and 15. Mariota, nobody home, and no flag. Harry Douglas got caught up with Prince Amukamara. A lot of contact, no call.
Guys, right here, he's going to come up, try and get out to the outside, and he's going to get tangled up with Amukamara. And it looked like Amukamara just grabbed him and tugged him to the ground, tugged him a little bit. I don't know, it's hard to see from that far away, but certainly Harry Douglas was looking around looking for a flag.
5 straight incompletions for Marcus Mariota. He's 5 of 16 for just 59 yards on the day. Tennessee as a team only has 103 yards of offense. 2nd and 15. Mariota completes this one at the 33-yard line. Back to New York, an NFL Today update with JB and Bart Scott.
And out to Buffalo, where there's no give up.
LaShawn McCoy is having a great day on the ground. He's 12 for 93, 19 yards on this carry. Takes it in. Miami still leads 21-14.
Little shimmy like Steve Tasker is capable of doing. Back to Andrew Catalan.
I don't think Steve Tasker shimmied in quite some time.
I shimmied when I stumbled on the steps coming into the booth today.
Actually, I did see that. 3rd down and 1 after the 14-yard completion to Harry Douglas. Henry trying to give it a second effort. I don't think he got there.
No, he did not.
3rd carry today for Derrick Henry, and it's 4th down. The Jacksonville defense rises up once again.
And no doubt who controlled the line of scrimmage on this play. Look at the number of black shirts in the backfield right there, finished off by Paul Posluszny, number 51. stopping any momentum that Derrick Henry had moving forward.
Telvin Smith also coming up to make that tackle. Marcus Mariota told us that the Titans offensive line is the foundation of their team. They've had a great year as a unit, but today Jacksonville, between stopping the run and pressuring Marcus Mariota, has really done a good job against that Tennessee offensive line, as Walters is taken down as soon as he catches it at the 22-yard line with 6:01 to go, third quarter. Injured Titan is LaShawn Sims, the rookie. He made the tackle on that punt. Let's take another look at what happened to Sims.
He's the guy that hit Walters as he caught this. Once again, as I said, Walters very sure. That's tough to catch that ball come out of the sky, particularly with guys bearing down on you. And it looks like Sims took the brunt of that hit. You can see the discomfort on his face.
Played a season high 44 snaps last week. Pro Football Focus has rated Sims as the Titans' top defensive player each of the last 2 games. They'll watch this first down and 10 play for Jacksonville. It's a screen pass to Ivory. Ivory at the 25. Ivory still going at the 40. Ivory at midfield. Chris Ivory finally taken down, but he lost the football late. Second time today, Ivory is fumbled.
They called it a fumble and threw the beanie.
They're saying he's down.
Now, the official on the far side threw a marker as though it was a fumble.
They're saying it's Jacksonville football. Jaguars have quickly gotten to the line. They want to snap this before Tennessee has a chance to take a look at the replay.
The challenge
Flag is out by Mike Mularkey.
That's a good challenge.
You have to make sure that there was a clear recovery as well. Mularkey throwing the flag. He said, you can tell there, he says the ball's out. And he may have
the runner being down by contact.
He may have a case.
Timeout.
Yeah. And you could see
now
Ivory is doing nothing. He's thinking about holding the football. Is that butt hit before the ball comes out?
I think the knee was down.
His rump
and his elbow.
Now is there a clear recovery as well as that ball pops loose? Yeah. Looks like it.
Chris Ivory now getting looked at on the Jaguars sideline. Remember, TJ Yeldon with just 2 carries today, out for the game because of an ankle injury.
Now, Ivory has just coming back from a pulled hamstring a few weeks ago, but right there he's down. Is he down? Is he not down? That ball is out, but I don't know that his behind or his knee or shin hit the ground.
But why is he pulling up like that? He could have gained more. He must have pulled the hamstring, which is why he stopped and let the Titans catch up to him.
I think that's going to stand as a non-fumble.
I think it's too bang bang. I think you're right.
Now the ball starts to show up, but I think he's still got control of it on that frozen frame we saw just a moment ago.
Here comes Pete Morelli back out onto the field. Mike Mularkey just 1 for 5 on challenges this year.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. The runner was down by contact. Tennessee will be charged with timeout and a challenge.
So Tennessee loses a timeout. They have 2 remaining the rest of the way.
Let's look at this. You got it. A perfectly set up screen pass. Chris Fisher told us Ivory's going to come across right here behind a bunch of linemen. But Fisher said that Mularkey wanted to focus on shutting down the screen game of the Jaguars. We didn't get a chance to see it because the play is about to run. But it was set up perfectly. But Chris Ivory pulled up before finishing off that run.
Bortles completes it to Marquise Lee. And it was Corey Grant out there for the first down play for Jacksonville at running back.
Yeah, and if you're Jacksonville, you almost feel like you dodged a bullet there as Grant comes into the game. Ivory still not back in. It's going to be interesting to see if he can make it back. As I said a moment ago, he was coming off a hamstring injury. Grant probably not taking very many reps with this offense.
Only 5 carries on the season coming into the day. Play action here. Bortles on the run. Has some room to run. He will do that to the 30 and out of bounds with a Jacksonville first down.
Well, Blake Bortles averaging over 6 yards per carry as a runner. Over 300 yards rushing this year. He's a guy that's not afraid to tuck it and go. And we may see more of him with the read option and things of that nature with both Yeldon and Ivory down at this point. We're not sure what the status is of Chris Ivory.
You might not see that. The ball handling might be a real issue with Grant. I'm sure those two have not done much of the read option, and that might cause yet more problems with ball handling.
7-yard run by Bortles. It's 1st and 10. Bortles down the sideline, incomplete, looking for Marquise Lee. Injury update on the Tennessee side. Let's go down to Chris Fisher.
Thanks, Andrew. LaShawn Sims, who was injured making the tackle on Brian Walters on the punt coverage for the Titans, came off the field. He was going through tests with team physicians. He's now being taken back to the locker room. We'll continue to bring the latest as soon as we hear from the Titans side, Andrew.
All right, Chris, thank you very much. 4:09 to go, third quarter, as you see Sims walking out now. Already thin at secondary today. Jason McCourty inactive with a chest injury. Bortles to Robinson. Valentino Blake locks him up. It'll be 3rd down and short. You know, when we met with Blake Bortles yesterday, we just asked him about the impact Gus Bradley had on him, not as a football player, but as a person, as a man. And Bortles told us that he's got notebooks full of things that Gus Bradley said during meetings. And he said, one day when I'm a father and I have kids, I'm going to pull out those notebooks because I know I'll be a better dad rereading what Gus Bradley told me throughout my career here in Jacksonville. That's the impact that Bradley had on his team. 3rd down and 3. Bortles to Marquise Lee. He's got some room. A flag is down. Lee is down inside the 5. The flag is down back at the line of scrimmage, and this is a hold against Jacksonville.
Jeremy Parnell
Illegal use of hands. Hands to the face, number 78 offense. 10-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
Yeah, he was locked up with Derek Morgan and got his hands up in the face, actually took Morgan's helmet off. It was an easy call by the official. The flag came out very early, and this is going to cost Jacksonville. And oh wow, Marquise Lee stays down.
Lee is down. That penalty negates a 21-yard gain, and now all the Jacksonville training staff coming down to look at Marquise Lee. Lee with a history of injuries, although this year he has remained healthy.
Right here. And at the other end, you'll see Marquise Lee right at the pylon.
And Lee is now slowly walking off the field. He's got 3 catches, including a touchdown today, and that's a good sign for Marquise Lee.
Well, the sad thing about that play for the Jaguars is that Parnell, both tackles, had done a very good job against the edge rushers for the Tennessee Titans. Bortles had a nice pocket. He steps up and makes a great completion down to the inside the 5-yard line, all negated because of a little laziness with the hands to the face. Very unnecessary, had no real impact on the play.
3rd down and 15 for the Jaguars. And another busted screen play. Bortles fires it to the ground.
Receiver in the area.
And it's 4th down.
That's the screen pass defense that Dick LeBeau has been looking for. Mike Mularkey talked about. They tried to set up yet another screen pass, but it's a little bit of an obvious situation to run the screen pass. You're going to see all these guys come up, and Grant's going to come up, try and sneak out, and he gets tripped up, gets mangled up there.
So now a 50-yard field goal attempt for Jason Myers. Earlier in the quarter, he was good from 56, although he did miss an extra point back in the first half. This kick down the middle, and once again, Jason Myers is good. 4 for 4 on field goals today for Myers, and the lead is 15 for Doug Marrone and the Jaguars. Week 16 continues later today on Fox, and then tonight on NFL Network, and tune in tomorrow for a Christmas Day doubleheader on NFL Network and NBC. Well, time is running out here for the Titans. As Steve Tasker said right off the top of the broadcast, that win by Tennessee last week at Kansas City, arguably one of the best wins of the year in the NFL. They cannot follow it up with so much at stake by losing here to a Jacksonville team that came in with a 2-12 record.
Yeah, that's when the season's all said and done and it doesn't turn out the way you want it to. You're either out of the playoffs. that's the most maddening thing for a team, to come back knowing you had a chance to get to the tournament, the playoffs at the end of the season, and then you yourself couldn't get it done against a Jacksonville team that struggled so badly all year.
You look at the comments that Mike Mularkey made during the course of this week, you know that was his focus, to make sure that his team did not look past this game to the big showdown against Houston next week. He really felt his team was mentally ready to play this ball game, and so far that's not the case.
Touchback for Myers. Tennessee will start at the 25-yard line. Tuesday on CBS. Celebrate the best of the best with your favorite stars on one stage for one spectacular event. The Kennedy Center Honors, Tuesday at 9/8 Central, only CBS. An injury update from the Tennessee side passed along by our Chris Fisher. LaShawn Sims, the rookie corner, is in the concussion protocol. 2:59 to go, third quarter. Tennessee down by 15. Mariota this half just 1 of 5 for 14 yards. Play action. Mariota to Sharp, and it's incomplete. Let's go back to New York, an NFL Today update with JB and Bart Scott.
Miami's going to have to earn this one.
Buffalo continues to fight. Tyrod Taylor finds Charles Clay, who breaks the tackle and takes it in for the 18-yard score. Buffalo trailing 28-20.
1:12 left in the third. Back to Andrew Catalog.
Miami trying to create further separation in the race for a wild card spot in the AFC. Buffalo giving them all they can handle. Here in Jacksonville, Tennessee, trying to keep their hopes alive and control their own destiny. Trail by 15 as the pass is complete. Mariota and first down yardage to Rishard Matthews. Jonathan Cyprien on the tackle.
I really like this play. This is hard play action going to the left, but then it's a screen pass set up to the right side of the wide receiver, Rishard Matthews. You see Jack Conklin getting out there in front, a couple of offensive linemen. Nice pickup and conversion for the Tennessee Titans.
If Tennessee loses this game, then Houston, with a win tonight over Cincinnati, would win the division. Tennessee would still be alive for a wild card spot. They don't want to think about that right now with 2:10 to go in the third quarter. First and 10. It's DeMarco Murray. Maybe a yard for Murray, who's been held in check today. 12 carries for just 39 yards.
Yeah, Tennessee will be on life support if they don't win this game. The best they will be able to do is a 9-7 record, along with about 6 other teams scattered about the AFC. I'm exaggerating, but they're going to be not a place where they're going to be able to count on getting to the postseason, even if they were to beat Houston next week.
That's if Houston wins tonight.
Right. That's correct.
Second down and 9. Still plenty of time for a Tennessee comeback. We saw it in the fourth quarter last week against the Chiefs. Mariota to his tight end, Fasano. His first catch of the day, out of bounds in Jacksonville territory. Delvin Smith forcing out Fasano.
There's only been a couple of throws today that Marcus Mariota has made on rhythm in his proper sequence of his progression. Right there, that was a great quick decision, getting the ball out to his tight end in the flat. Super enough for a nice pickup. Fasano, excuse me.
Final minute of the third quarter. Derrick Henry now the running back. Mariota tackled from behind and sacked. Sheldon Day with his first NFL sack.
Well, they had a post pattern going to the far, coming back and all the way across. Rishard Matthews was going to come open, but Mariota, just as he steps into this, he feels the pressure, knows he couldn't step into the throw because Sheldon Day was right there in his face, coming around behind, where actually it's the guy in his face was Abry Jones. And
Marcus Mariota is still down on the ground at the 50-yard line. Helmet off. And the Tennessee training staff now attending to Mariota.
And it came down on the back of his legs as he fell forward. was a smart play, actually, I think, by Mariota, not to try and desperately throw that up into the air and maybe take a shot. Just take the first down play.
And Tennessee's backup quarterback is Matt Castle, who's attempted just one pass this season. It was in the blowout over Jacksonville back in Week 8. He was 1 for 1 for 10 yards in mop-up duty, and now Castle, at the age of 34, is warming up as Mariota is still down on the ground.
Well, he seems awake and alert, talking to him, having a conversation. We'll see.
He got his legs wrapped up.
Right there's his right ankle.
Yeah.
There you go.
And the cart has come out now for Marcus Mariota.
Well, that just went from concerning to catastrophic for the Titans. And what do you think? Do you think he already told him?
I think they could say there's something they're seeing.
Yeah, they're getting the air cast out now.
Mariota missed 4 games last year because of injury, but he's played in every game this season. And he has not moved since he was brought down.
And that's, you talk to these Titans and they all talk about how constant he is. And even now, I mean, even if he were to even feel the fact that his ankle was pretty badly injured, you can see him sitting there calm, cool. He's never up very far, and he's never down very far. Very constant emotionally, very steadying influence on a young team, on his offensive line. These guys really have a lot of respect for a young quarterback who has done everything he can to help his team, and I think they've responded to his leadership as a young quarterback, not only on the field but obviously off the field as well.
Nice hand from the fans here in Jacksonville, and a stunning development here for the Tennessee Titans as their franchise quarterback Marcus Mariota is being carted off the field.
Yeah, I think everyone realizes the significance of this. If Marcus Mariota felt there was any way he could get back up on that foot, he would have tried. That does not bode well for the Titans moving forward, but that's why Matt Castle is here. We get a nice applause for Marcus Mariota as he's carted off.
And so many times you see a young, up-and-coming, great quarterback on the horizon as he waves to the crowd in appreciation, and them as well giving him a nice round of applause. You have an old veteran quarterback to come in, a guy who has seen it all, and Matt Castle at 34 years of age, as Andrew mentioned, he's been around the block a couple of times.
His 12th year in the NFL, his first season with the Titans. This is just his second pass attempt of the year, and it's incomplete. 3rd down and long coming for Tennessee. Now, how do the Titans, seeing their franchise quarterback respond? Obviously a gruesome injury. He's out. Now the Titans, with their playoff hopes on the line, how do they come back out now?
Well, based on what Mike Mularkey tells us about the makeup and the character of this team, very, very close-knit group, I would expect that he thinks they're going to rally together and try and keep their focus and be that much more motivated to get this W.
Bad snap. Castle scoops it up on the run, loads up and fires along the sideline, incomplete. A busted play from the start. It's 4th and long, and Mularkey is forced to send out his punter, Brett Kern.
Yeah, you could see Castle wound up and really gave this one all he had, and it was off target, kind of threw it in the dirt. But that's, you kind of expect, when you got 2 downs to come in and either make or break it on a long yardage situation, it's best punt this away, have a conversation with your backup quarterback about what he's comfortable with, and then come out with a new playlist on your next series.
Brian Walters back deep, final play of the 3rd quarter, assuming no penalty. It's a fair catch by Walters at the 11-yard line, and that is the end of the 3rd quarter. Jacksonville up 25-10. You're watching the NFL on CBS.
Welcome back to Jacksonville, where the Jaguars lead the Titans 25-10 at the start of the fourth quarter. Marcus Mariota, the quarterback for the Titans, who was injured in that gruesome ankle injury we just saw, has been taken back to X-ray. The ankle, the injury has ruled him out for the rest of the game. Andrew?
All right, Chris, thank you. Bortles deep to Marquise Lee on first down, and it's incomplete. Start of the fourth quarter. Jaguars have had a fourth quarter lead in 4 of their last 5 games. They've lost them all. Tennessee, with so much to play for, controlling their own destiny in the AFC South, trailing by 15. They'll have to come back without their franchise quarterback, Marcus Mariota.
Well, I like the mentality of Jacksonville in that first play, but as we get into the fourth quarter with a 2-score lead, you definitely want to get that clock running. Here comes a run.
And it's Corey Grant who's in there. Remember, Ivory, after that big 37-yard catch, they were working on him on the sideline. He has not come back in, and TJ Yeldon already out with an ankle injury early in the first quarter. So right now it's Corey Grant, who has 4 carries today, 5 the entire season coming in. There you see Ivory without a helmet on, watching from the sideline. His return is questionable with a hamstring injury. 3rd down and 6. Bortles pass deflected at the line and incomplete. That is the 19th time this year that Blake Bortles has had a pass batted down or deflected at the line of scrimmage, the most in the NFL.
You can see it's a 5-man rush. That's been the kind of the norm today for the Tennessee Titans. They've vacillated between 5 guys coming and 3 guys coming a lot on certain downs, and Bortles is, on that play, just threw it right into the hand of the defender.
Jarrell Casey was that defender as Nortman kicks it away to Mariani. Oh, he's hit, I think, before he got in. The flag is down. Peyton Thompson celebrating, but he won't be as soon as Pete Morelli gets on the mic.
Yeah, that's an outstanding job by Mariani to hang on to that ball. Thompson did it once earlier in the game. As soon as Mariani caught the ball, he made the tackle. Thompson a hair early on this one.
That's going to be a 15-yard penalty, which is
Kick catch interference. Kicking team. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down, and timeout.
That has been a problem for Jacksonville all year. They have the most special team penalties in the NFL. Another fourth quarter lead for Jacksonville. Will they hold on? They lead it 25-10 over the Tennessee Titans with Matt Castle at quarterback. Marcus Mariota out with an ankle injury. Castle completes this one to Harry Douglas and out of bounds near the chain, just a couple of yards shy. If you thought your fantasy season was over, it's not. Sign up free and you could win a trip to Super Bowl 52. Join today at NFL.com.
Number 71 is reporting as eligible. 71 is eligible.
Dennis Kelly reports as an eligible receiver for Tennessee as they'll have it 2nd down and short. Second completion this year from Matt Castle. They give to Murray. And Murray has a Tennessee first down. Tough day for DeMarco Murray. 13 carries and 40 yards for DeMarco Murray, who came in as the 2nd leading rusher in the NFL. Only Ezekiel Elliott with more rushing yards. We asked him yesterday how he feels, because for DeMarco Murray in Philly last year, he had 193 carries for the season. This year, 268 coming in. So he's moving closer to 300, and he said he's been working very closely with a nutritionist. His body feels good, and he's fortunate to have Derrick Henry spell him, although Henry with just 3 carries today. Castle with pressure coming, takes a hit, still completes it to Douglas. Castle right back to Harry Douglas. Dante Fowler was the man who hit Castle.
Well, this guy, Dante Fowler, now on the bottom of the screen, you can't really see him. The throw and catch by Harry Douglas and Matt Castle. Nice little play there, but the athletic play right here by Fowler going up over the top of the block. Remember, this guy was a 3rd pick in the draft last year, blew out his ACL, and really playing his first season this year. Said yesterday he still feels like a rookie, but he's excited for the future.
Henry running back on 2nd and 2. Play action with a flag down. Castle completes this one again. It's to Delaney Walker.
This may be another illegal formation.
If it stands, that's Delaney Walker's first catch today.
Illegal formation, offense. Number 78 was on the end of the line. 5-yard penalty remains, 2nd down.
Well, that's one of the issues you have when you put guys in that are ineligible and eligible and you switch back and forth. Jack Conklin, the right tackle, was not eligible, but the Tennessee Titans didn't cover him up with an outside receiver. And that's just an alignment mistake. I mean, those are the basic fundamental things you've got to get right every time. And the Titans have messed that up twice today, and it's been crucial.
So Delaney Walker, the Pro Bowl tight end, still without a catch. 2nd and 7 following the penalty. Castle to Kendall Wright for a Tennessee first down. Paul Posluszny on the tackle, but Kendall Wright moves the chains to a tune of 10 yards.
And Kendall Wright hobbling off. Looks like he got his ankle a little bit twisted, and then the Titans answer. They bring in 2 tight ends and Derrick Henry. This is a big run formation personnel package, and you see there Wright gets up, and that tackle right there, you can see him testing it out. We'll see if he can shake that off. But this is a run heavy personnel package on the field for the Titans now.
Play action again. Castle looking to go back to the air. Checks down to Henry. Henry slips a tackle. Henry at the 20, and Henry is pushed out by Posluszny inside the 20-yard line. Good for another Tennessee first down.
Well, this is a great job by Matt Castle coming down to his check down after the play action. He doesn't see what he wants up the field. He sees Henry, but then Telvin Smith, one of the best open field tacklers on the Jaguars team right there, so athletic, can close that gap so quickly. Uncharacteristically, he makes a mistake, misses a tackle, and allows a big play for Derrick Henry.
Tennessee driving. They're in the red zone as we approach 10:25 to go. Henry remains the running back. It is Henry. And Posluszny comes up. Henry picks up a couple. Steve Berline is a former quarterback. What's the hardest thing for Matt Castle right now, having only thrown 1 pass the entire year?
Well, the hardest thing really is just to get your mind all of a sudden back into game mode. You can't have any hesitation, any doubt in your abilities to get out there and get the job done. You can't sit there and get yourself distracted with the magnitude of the opportunity, the situation. You just got to focus on one play at a time, knowing your assignments, and just trying to keep things moving in a positive direction.
Tennessee #1 in the league in red zone touchdowns this year. However, that was with Mariota at quarterback. Castle out of the shotgun, looking for Murray, who makes the catch at the 13, out of bounds at the 12-yard line. It will be 3rd down.
Yeah, one of the other things, as a coaching staff, during the time when the defense was on, Matt Castle, they went over a playlist as well. I think the key thing is, too, I know this for any player coming in cold off the bench, you got to keep it simple. Execute the things you know you can execute, and don't wait until you absolutely have to do something special to try and do something special. Just take what's there and keep it simple.
Titans need to get to the 6-yard line for a first down. It's 3rd and 8. Could be 4-down territory. Good protection, Castle, and that one is caught for a touchdown. Wow. Delaney Walker. Matt Castle's first touchdown pass since last Thanksgiving in 2015 when he was a member of the Dallas Cowboys.
Well, I thought this ball was going to be intercepted when Matt Castle let go of it. He knew something I didn't. That was Delaney Walker's first catch, I believe, as well.
Yes,
but
it was.
You can see Telvin Smith, number 50, makes the break on this ball. I thought he was going to intercept. Oh, Delaney Walker jumped in front of him. That's all it was. Telvin Smith took a bad angle.
That's a veteran receiver. He stepped up towards the football, came back to get it, knowing it was going to take a little too long to get there. Fantastic adjustment by the veteran tight end.
So Mike Mularkey sends out Ryan Succop for the extra point. Low snap. Kick is good. So it's an 8-point game with 8:42 to go. Matt Castle in relief of the injured Mariota to Delaney Walker for the score. A one-possession game in Jacksonville. The 8-6 Titans trying to maintain their hold of their own destiny in the AFC South. They win today. They beat Houston next week. They are division champions. If Tennessee loses this game, then Houston can clinch the division with a win tonight over an injured Cincinnati team. Montez Burfict, A.J. Green not expected to play in that one. Jacksonville trying to hold on here in the fourth quarter, something they have not been able to do this year. Touchback. The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Fruit of the Loom. Keep your cool in breathable underwear. Nationwide is on your side. Honda, hurry in for great deals during Happy Honda Days. And by Straight Talk Wireless, best phones, best networks, half the cost. Blake Bortles, 23 of 35 for 282 yards. Back out there, 1st and 10. Looking to throw on first down, and a flag comes in. Bryce McCain had the coverage on Allen Robinson, and this is going against McCain.
Pass interference, number 23. Defense, automatic, first down.
Well, that's the second time McCain has been called today on a penalty. Right here, that's all allowed right there. Then right here at the top, you see he's got his hand around the back. Now he was complaining about it. You're going to get called for that every single time. You can't put your arm around or grab a handful of jersey.
Still no Chris Ivory. It's Corey Grant at running back, and Grant is spun down at the 37-yard line. So Jacksonville now without its top 2 running backs in Yeldon and Ivory.
Well, that was a good job by Grant. We were talking earlier about how Chris Ivory trying to get to the sideline and stretch those plays. Right there, Corey Grant realized that he's not going to get to the outside, tucks it up inside, and picks up a nice 3-yard gain to keep Blake Bortles and company in a good down and distance situation.
Grant has more rushing yards today, 20, than he had the entire season coming in. Bortles to Robinson. Oh, what a play! Did he get both feet in? Yes, he did! What a catch from Allen Robinson, a gain of 21.
Well, Valentino Blake is on the coverage, and you can see this. I mean, it's tough to defend that. You're going to make a catch like that. There you go. Wow.
That's pretty impressive.
And we said earlier, you got a quarterback like Blake Bortles who's been wildly inconsistent. When you got guys pulling him in one-handed, that really goes a long way towards improving the entire team.
It's Grant on first down, and nothing doing that time. Jarrell Casey. Well, good news for the Jaguars. This could be the best performance of the year for Blake Bortles. He's over 300 yards for the 11th time in his career. The first 10 times he threw for 300 yards, all losses in his career. He's 0-10 when throwing for 300 yards.
Wow.
Well, wins have been few and far between in his entire career here in Jacksonville, so.
A 10-33 record as Jacksonville's starter. Bortles back to the air, right back to Robinson for another Jacksonville first down.
That's a huge completion because now, particularly given the way Myers has kicked, they're in field goal range and could make this once again a 2-score game for Tennessee.
What I like is the mentality the Jaguars are showing here. They're attacking. They're keeping the pedal to the metal. They're putting the game in Blake Bortles' hands, saying, at some point, we got to be able to count on you in these situations to drive the nail in the coffin. He's showing today he's up for the task.
Right back to the air. Good protection. Bortles completes this one to his tight end Ellis, and he's taken down at the 20 by Aaron Wallace. We met with Blake Bortles yesterday, and we brought up the comments that general manager Dave Caldwell made earlier this week, saying no one on the team was untouchable for the next head coach, including Blake Bortles, although he did say he believes very much in Bortles. And Blake Bortles, to a man, he is very open and honest and candid. He said it wouldn't be fair to the new head coach if they were forced to have me as the quarterback. He said, I get that. I understand that. However, in these last 2 games, I'm going to go out there and do everything I possibly can to make this hard on the organization to not have the confidence in me to be the starter next year. And Bortles has to call a timeout here with 1 on the play clock.
Yeah, he saw something
Timeout.
just at the very end of his
Jacksonville,
cadence
first team timeout.
that demanded a check, and he didn't have time to make it.
2 timeouts left for each team. Jaguars lead it 25-17 on 2nd and 4 from the 20. Marquise Lee looking to throw it. As Bortles wide open. Those tricky Jags. Touchdown, Jacksonville. You never know what'll happen with an interim head coach, Doug Marrone, trying to put his stamp on this team, and the trick play works to perfection.
Well, the only way a quarterback is eligible as a receiver is if he's in the shotgun. And a lot of times, as you see right there, that was Arakpo, number 98, who realized that Bortles had snuck outside of him, and it was his responsibility to peel off with Bortles, but it was too late.
First career reception for Blake Bortles, and Myers again is no good on the extra point. So a 14-point game with 5:25 to go. Marquise Lee, the touchdown pass to Bortles. Marquise Lee, the touchdown pass to Blake Bortles. Bortles was recruited as a tight end coming out of high school. Central Florida was the only school that said, if you come here, you can be our quarterback. But a lot of schools wanted Bortles as a pass catcher, and now the first quarterback in team history with a receiving touchdown, 31-17 with 5:25 to go. This one bounces out to 2. And a touchback. Let's go back to the touchdown.
Well, you're going to see Marquise Lee right here on the end of the line of scrimmage. What he's going to do is just come back behind Bortles. Bortles is going to flip it to Marquise Lee and run right down the sideline. And watch Brian Arakpo at the end of the line, right there getting caught up in the left tackle, Kelvin Beachum. And that lets Bortles get down the sideline uncontested for the touchdown. Very nice play design, perfect time for the call, and great execution by the Jaguars.
Season high in points today, and now crunch time for the Tennessee Titans with so much to play for. Down by 2 touchdowns and 5:25 to go. If you're just joining us, Marcus Mariota out for the game with an injured ankle. It's Matt Castle, and he's picked off. Ramsey, touchdown! Who are these Jacksonville Jaguars?
Well, we spoke to Mike Mularkey yesterday. He said the word that describes his team is resilient. There's no bouncing back from this one.
Great players make great plays at big times, and I think we're seeing the exclamation point on what is going to be one of the best cornerbacks in the league for a lot of years to come in Jalen Ramsey.
Ramsey, a native of Smyrna, Tennessee, attended Brentwood Academy, was pumped up to play his hometown team growing up, and he's got his first NFL touchdown. Second straight week with an interception for Jalen Ramsey. And the Jaguars are on the verge of winning their first game in Jacksonville in over a year.
You don't think these guys appreciate being in this position? I mean, it's been a long, long time for these Jaguars. And on the other side, the disappointment is equally as great. The Titans know the opportunity that they've had coming into this game.
And we sat with Senderick Marks yesterday, a veteran on this Jacksonville team, and we said, what went wrong this year? Expectations were sky high. You're 2-12. What happened? And he said, simply, we didn't finish. We didn't have that attitude to put teams away this entire year. Different story today. In the fourth quarter, they have extended their lead and they're handing a division rival who embarrassed them on national television back in Week 8 an absolutely critical loss to their playoff hopes. Tennessee not eliminated with a loss today. They could still win the division next week if Houston loses tonight. They could also still be alive for a wild card, but this is one that Tennessee could not afford to slip up on, and it has been all Jaguars today. Next Sunday, to keep you fully immersed in the playoff picture of the NFL on CBS, we'll showcase a doubleheader featuring these games, subject to flex scheduling. Check your local listings. It all begins with JB, Tony, Coach Bart, and Boomer on the NFL Today. Jaguars have 13 points in the last 8 seconds, and they lead 38-17. Castle is taken down. Yannick Ngakoue with his 7th sack of the season, and that ties Tony Bracken's franchise rookie record. Bracken's had 7 back in 1996.
Ngakoue coming right up the middle of the formation. Yeah, you mentioned it. We spoke too as this play comes off to Senderick Marks yesterday.
Castle will step up and run. There's a flag down behind the play.
Holding. Number 77, offense. 10-yard penalty, still second down.
We spoke to Senderick Marks, and he said, you know, we just haven't finished. He said, we've just got to learn to put our foot on the throat of our opponent in the fourth quarter when we've got them down. And I think today you can kind of take it for granted that the Tennessee Titans have cleat marks on their carotid.
Well, for Tennessee, coming off the incredible win at Kansas City, not only are they about to lose a game, but who knows how long Marcus Mariota will be out for if he could return. Certainly didn't look good. Just a disastrous Christmas Eve for the Tennessee Titans here in Jacksonville. Castle's pass is deflected, and it's 3rd and 25.
Well, you know, based on what we've seen out of this Jaguars team this year and as recently as last week, we had no reason to believe that this would happen today, although there was an air of confidence in everybody we spoke to in this building on Friday. They all believed that there was a change coming and that there was a statement to be made today in this ball game against this team that embarrassed them in Week 8. They're doing a pretty good job of driving that message home today.
Castle, again deflected, but still completes it to Walker, who's taken down by Ramsey, and Telvin Smith 4th and long. And Mike Mularkey, he's got to go for it here.
Yeah, I agree, although now they're going to send their punt team out 4:21 inside their own 15-yard line, looking at a 4th and 20. Yeah, you're asking for, well, it's a disaster. It's just a no-win. You got to punt it away.
It's waving the flag, though.
Yeah,
no doubt about that.
Yeah, it could be, and it also could be a spot where you want to run your fake punt. Maybe you see something, but yeah, there's no way you can do anything else.
Fair catch by Walters at his own 37-yard line with 3:49 to go. It's been a while since Jacksonville has won a football game. Week 6 in Chicago. First drive of the game, they went right down the field, but an interception. Jordan Howard had a 1-yard touchdown run. Chris Ivory answered in the 4th quarter, and then the big play, the 51-yard touchdown from Bortles to Aurelius Ben. Jacksonville won, and since then they have not won. 9 straight losses, which is a franchise record in a single season. And Blake Bortles, the first player in NFL history with 300 passing yards and a receiving touchdown in the same game. Jaguars will now try to run out the clock. This will also mean that Jacksonville will not tie a franchise record for worst season ever. They were 2-14 in 2012 when Mike Mularkey was the head coach of the Jaguars.
Yeah, this building continues to not be kind to Mike Mularkey. And those two guys we spoke in the open, very good friends. They've known each other since before either one of them was an NFL assistant coach, let alone a head coach. Doug Marrone, one of the first things he would have done after getting the news last Sunday night or Monday morning that he was going to be the head coach would be to call Mike Mularkey. But because the schedule came down as it was, they're going to play each other, and you just don't do that. He said he couldn't trust him. The way this turned out, he should have trusted him.
On 2nd and 4, it's Grant again. And he is taken down. Tennessee calls its final timeout. Well, here's the question. Doug Marrone was told no matter what happens in the final 2 games, he'll still be a candidate for the job. What does this performance do for Doug Marrone's future as a possible head coach here in Jacksonville?
Well, I think you look at the track record. There's a history of interim coaches coming in, even recent history last year with Dan Campbell, the Miami Dolphins, and also with Mike Mularkey, the Tennessee Titans. Their first game, the team comes out a lot of times and responds very well. I think the question will be how this team shows up week 17, and that would really be a strong case presented by Doug Marrone, who does have head coaching experience, does know this organization. I think it would make a strong case for him to be really seriously considered, along with the likes of Tom Coughlin and several others I'm sure they'll look at as well. But Doug Marrone would have a real strong case.
Grant is taken down short of the sticks. Jacksonville with 3 runs, just trying to work some clock. Tennessee cannot stop it now, and out comes the punt unit. Brad Nortman, the Jacksonville punter.
Now they're lining up with Blake Bortles in the huddle. They're probably going to go down, take a timeout here as the play clock winds down and get every second off the clock, and then they'll call the timeout and make the punt. But you think in the articles coming out of Jacksonville, I mean, every name under the sun has been linked to the head coaching vacancy here.
Timeout Jacksonville, 2nd team timeout, 30-second timeout.
It will be, I think they will still, no question it's an on-the-job interview process for Doug Marrone, but there's no question they're going to go out and scour the countryside looking for the best guy.
And the question is, do you go with one of these young, hot, first time to be head coaches like the offensive coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons? Kyle Shanahan is a name that everybody's talking about. Well-earned reputation as an offensive mind. Knows a lot about defensive football as well as a successful offensive coach. There's Shad Khan, the owner of the Jaguars. Have to be happy with the response of his team today, but you've got a lot of other people being considered, probably Josh McDaniel up in New England. We can start pulling names, making a long list, but only they are going to be the ones who determine who's going to get that chance.
Well, Doug Marrone certainly did not hurt his chances today with this performance, as Nortman does punt. Mariani, the fair catch at the 16. Coming up on the Subway postgame show, join JB, Tony, Bart, Boomer, and Coach Cower. They'll have all the latest NFL scores, highlights, and playoff scenario updates all coming up on the Subway postgame show. Here's one update. Assuming that Tennessee doesn't have a miracle comeback, the Houston Texans can clinch the AFC South tonight at home against Cincinnati. Tom Savage will start at quarterback.
And if they lose tonight against Cincinnati, that sets up a battle of the backups, most likely. We don't know the extent of Marcus Mariota's injury, but it would probably be Savage versus Castle in Houston.
In Nashville,
excuse me, next week.
Also keeps the Colts alive as Castle dodges a sack, now on the run, fires. And that pass is high and incomplete. Ramsey on the coverage.
You know, as you get inside of 2.5 minutes to go in this football game, and you're trying to describe how big a loss this is for Tennessee. They lose their starting quarterback, Marcus Mariota. They come in here with a chance to keep their playoff time and set up really a playoff game next week. And this loss has to qualify as just absolutely crushing for this franchise and this team's mentality.
Castle to Kendall Wright, right at the chains. And with that spot, he's got a first down. Tennessee cannot stop the clock outside of the 2-minute warning. Tennessee has not made the playoffs since 2008 when Jeff Fisher was the head coach. As Castle's pass is batted down at the line. And Derek Marks got a hand on that one.
He knew he wasn't going to get home. He just kind of stayed right where he was and watched Matt Castle's eyes and then jumped up into the middle of it. Right here, he sees double teamed. Just stays there, watches Castle, and then springs up out of there and gets it.
Yes, and Derek Marks, one of the many Jaguars that told us yesterday they were looking for payback today. That Thursday night loss really stung this team, and they played that up all week under the direction of Doug Marrone. 2:11 to go. Henry trying to get out of bounds, and he does with a first down with 2:04 to play.
Well, 3 touchdowns down and 2:04 left is not the scenario the Tennessee Titans thought they were going to be in the fourth quarter of this game. But then again, right when this game kicked off, Jacksonville took control of it and really had momentum throughout both halves of this game. And to see Jacksonville do what they've done in the fourth quarter of this game, let alone the fast start, it's completely opposite of what has been their characteristic play throughout the year.
Castle sideline, caught by Douglas out of bounds, and that takes us to the 2-minute warning. Jaguars on top, 38-17. Jackson DeVille, the mascot, just belly flopped into the pool. All smiles around here in Jacksonville as the Jaguars are about to win their first home game in Jacksonville in over a year. They had lost 7 straight here in Jacksonville. 1:58 to go. Tennessee can no longer stop the clock. Castle to Delaney Walker, and Jalen Ramsey makes the tackle inbounds. The clock continues to tick. Well, we're going to give Tennessee the loss here today, a stunner. The Titans now 8-7 on the year, and what does that mean for tonight? Well, Houston, with a win at home against Cincinnati, would clinch the AFC South. And Titans fans will put on their Bengals jerseys tonight, huddle around the table, hoping the Bengals can help them out. Subway postgame show coming up with JB, Tony, Bart, Boomer, Coach Cower, all the latest NFL scores and highlights. It's all coming up on the Subway postgame show. On third down, DeMarco Murray picks up the first. 1:20 to play. Jacksonville will finish the season next week on the road at Indianapolis, which may or may not have something to play for. Colts are in Oakland. That game just underway. Second down and 10 with 1:12 to go. Castle down the sideline, and that pass is caught by Tajay Sharp, 5th round pick out of UMass. His 3rd catch of the day, a gain of 24.
Now, that's a pretty good throw by Castle, and you got to think too, if you're Matt Castle and this offense, you got to think, you know what, we've got to get ready to play next week as well. Let's get Matt Castle as acclimated as we can. We've got to start thinking about the season's not being over. And you got to kind of bear down and concentrate your way through these difficult games like this. It could not have gone worse for the Titans today, but it is not over, and you got to stay in it and stay focused and stay ready to come back and play next week. And in fact, use the remaining moments of this game to get Matt Castle more ready to win next week against a Houston club.
Yeah, I think that game is gonna be significant because you look at tonight, the Texans. We'll know a lot more tomorrow, but with a backup quarterback against the Cincinnati Bengals, I don't care if they're missing a couple players. They're still a talented football team. That is not a gimme win for the Houston Texans.
Now, we saw Jacksonville play Houston very tough last week, nearly pulled out a win, but Texans found a way to get it done.
Cincinnati is a very talented roster, and as you mentioned, though, Vontaze Burfict not being in that game. Now, they've been without A.J. Green for a few weeks now, and I think they've kind of smoothed over that gap that he left in their roster. But Vontaze Burfict is the emotional leader of the entire team. They will miss him, but make no mistake, Cincinnati could keep Tennessee in this race.
3rd down and 10 for Castle, and he dropped. It's incomplete. Delaney Walker. Cyprien was all over him, and Walker was looking for a penalty. No call. It's 4th and 10.
And for those wondering why in a potential week 17 scenario with the Titans and the Houston Texans with identical records, the Texans hold the tiebreaker advantage by virtue of their division record, undefeated in the division so far this year. So tie goes to the Houston Texans in any kind of a tiebreaker scenario.
4th down and 10 for Tennessee. With 1 on the play clock, Castle takes the snap, fires to the end zone, and it is juggled and incomplete. Delaney Walker nearly had his 2nd touchdown of the game. Instead, the ball is going back to Jacksonville, and the Jaguars can go into victory formation.
It looked like Walker was going to pull it in, but the contact right there by Gibson knocks it loose. Great play, well timed up.
Yeah, perfectly played.
Heck of a job this year by that man, Todd Wash. Very good friends with Gus Bradley. They've known each other for 30 years. He has really turned some heads around the league with the job that he has done in his first year as defensive coordinator. Doug Marrone pointed that out to us yesterday. But Todd Wash has had a great year his first year as defensive coordinator. And Blake Bortles takes a knee. The Jaguars with their first win since week 6, and the Tennessee Titans fall to 8-7. The Houston Texans can clinch the AFC South with a win tonight at home against the Bengals. Challenging week here in Jacksonville. Gus Bradley was loved by all of his players and assistant coaches. Doug Marrone got the team right. And the Jaguars respond with a 38-17 win. For Steve Tasker, Steve Berline, Chris Fisher, our entire crew, I'm Andrew Catalon. You've been watching the NFL on CBS. Coming up, the Subway postgame show will take you back to New York. It's all coming up right after this.